Film jobs, right? Welcome everybody to another tier list. Some film jobs can be extremely tedious. Some film jobs can be extremely fun. Some jobs can be extremely boring. However, as I said in the previous video, this is only based on my own opinion. So if you get offended, fuck off. Yeah, that's just my opinion. Obviously, I don't have experiences with all of these jobs, but I'll try to do the best judgment based on my own knowledge and experience. So without further ado, we have screenwriting. Okay, I forgot to list the categories of how we're basing off these ranked. So we will judge these jobs based on how hard I think they are, if they're saturated, meaning if there's a lot of people who want that job, and thirdly, how big of an impact they have on the film. And so now we can actually start and begin with screenwriting. So I believe screenwriting has to be S tier. It has to be one of the most. It is pretty hard, don't get me wrong. You have to make like one page is like around 1 minute a film. So if you want to make like a 2-hour film, that would be like 120 pages, which if you tried screenwriting at all, you know that trying to do that takes a long time. Can't be possible. One of the things that screenwriters do is, I thought somebody walked in. They make a screenplay and they would just sit on it for hours on end. They would just have it, and not hours, but like years on end. I believe I just heard this recently, but apparently Metropolis was a film the one that came out recently was a film that the director made like the script for it like a long time ago, and he only got into working it recently. Yeah, so you can see how if you have a script ready, you could like adapt it whenever you want. You can revise it, you can make it better, and depending on what story you want to tell, you can present it if you think it's gonna like do well financially, or if you just want to do it as a passion project. It's really up to you how you want to do screenwriting, but it is a very hard job. That's the thing, and I would put it lower, but the thing is, it's such a important step when it comes to the filmmaking process, because if you don't have a script, then you don't have a story to tell. You don't have a movie at all. I know there are some people who I guess I was gonna say, like, there's some people who just go off from scratch. I know I did that once in my crime video. You can check that out in the channel. It's in the Diego's film section. But yeah, that is something that I did not write a script for. I just wrote the gist of it, the idea on people's piece of paper, and I just went along with it. Just improvised things. Didn't have really like a script, like a lines or anything. I just did what I thought would be best in my mind. And so, yeah, there's some people who can go without a script, and that's why, and it can be successful. That's the thing. I know there's been some movies and short films that have been successful even without a script, just based on the presentation itself was enough. Okay, yeah, I guess I will bump it down to A tier, because now that I think about it, screenwriting is not really as important when it comes to short films. I asked this to my professor, and I 100% agree with it. I asked him, should we practice screenwriting with short films? And he said, no, it's completely different. A short film is a scene, not a complete story. And I 100% agree with that. Most people try to say, like, they say that it's a misconception that short films can't be as impactful as a feature story-wise. And yeah, I actually, now that I think about it, I kind of disagree, because there's not enough time to be as invested. And most of the time, short films are used to show the skills, like the cinematography skills, the directing skills, the acting, just to show off skills that are not screenwriting. So that's why I'm gonna put in A tier. It is important, but when it comes to short films, we have to like think about it in every aspect of film, like in TV, in features, and in short films. We have to think about it in those ways. And also, we could also talk about screenwriting in TV, which this is something that I don't have really too much experience. I do have experience writing for features. I did not make a feature yet. As a matter of fact, I only gotten like 23 pages. And for my short film, I only got like 1 or 2 pages. But when it comes to TV, I don't have experience with when it comes to this aspect. I heard it's completely different, because since you don't have a complete story yet, like a complete ending, you don't know the ending point. The way in which you write can be different. I don't know about this. Don't have too much experience with that aspect, but I assume it still follows the same structure format. It's just the way it ends is different. That's just what I think, though, when it comes to writing for TV. Nah, I do have to put it in S tier. It doesn't matter if you don't require, for short films, if you don't require a good screenplay, it's still really impactful. Even if you write for a short, the idea that you come up with, it's in the screenplay. I just can't, like, the more I think about it, I'm just like, I don't think it's okay if I put if I don't put screenwriting in S tier. And this is going to be another S tier, which is acting. Acting is like, I have to say, it's like one of the most important aspects of, because if you don't have an actor, you don't have a film as well. These are like the two criteria when it comes to making a film. Like, you need a story and you need a way in which you can tell a story. Like, you can tell a story through the eyes of this character. Because if you don't have an actor, you kind of don't have a story. You can, sure, you can do like a documentary style thing, which honestly, I'm not a fan of filming those, where you just film the environment. Sure, those can be fun, right? But I don't know, there's something about having an actor with you and, guiding them towards the right performance is kind of fun. I'll talk about directing later because there's some misconceptions about directing, which I do not like. But actually, now that I think about it, there are some things that I did say that we would be based off. We would be base these categories on, and that's the fact that saturation, right? How saturated is this job? And screenwriting and acting has to be one of the two most saturated jobs out there. But the only difference in these two jobs is the fact that it's also really easy to be dependent, like independent on. Like if you look at the most successful filmmaking channels out there, it's about screenwriting. And also when you act, you have a performance. Performance does well whenever you upload it to like a YouTube channel. And if you get attention and you can get recognized, you can get views, maybe you can find another job. These are like two that you can sell too as well. You can sell a screenplay. Acting, I don't know, but again, if you try to like become an influencer, it could probably work. You can master the art of performing, and that will help you not only when it comes to acting in film, but also when it comes to YouTube videos. And if you master that, you become better at it, then yeah, you can probably be really successful in both genres. Not genres, but both aspects. And so yeah, I can't. It is saturated, of course, but it's really important on the film. And do I think it's hard? Do I think acting is hard? Not really. Surprisingly, I talk about this in all of my videos, but acting is actually really easy. You only need to do like 6 hours for acting. You only need to do like what, 3 hours? Well, depends, right? Depends how seriously you want to take it. My professor said that you have to read the script every day, and you could do that if you have struggle remembering the story and everything. If you're not completely confident in your ability to act, if you want more things to do, if you want to do like an actual actor, if you want to take up your free time. I know I keep repeating myself, but yeah, you should read the script. But if you like, maybe, but you don't really, that's not really required. It's okay if you only read the script like 3 times a week, 4 times a week. That's also okay. Reading the scripts, for me at least, it has taken me like about 2 hours. But then doing the preparation, doing research on my character, what am I do, motivations, what comes after the scene, before the scene, memorizing my lines, doing character research and memorizing my lines only takes me like about 2 hours. So take the fact that I read the script, that's 2 hours. Take the fact that I do memorizing my lines and scene preparation, studying the script, right? That's 4 hours. And then actual shooting itself, that only takes like around 1 to 4 hours if that you're only doing one scene, which is not a lot of time if you think about it. Like, time's gonna fly. If you ever been on set, time's gonna fly. It's really fun. But yeah, that would be like around 8 hours per week. Per week. Just 8 hours per week. Per week. Which is not a lot. So yeah, I do have to put acting in S tier because of all these aspects. Because the only thing that would make it so I will bump it down is the fact that it's really saturated, but it's not that hard, and it does have a huge impact on the film. So based on these two aspects, I put it in S tier. Okay, when it comes to editing, I'm gonna put it in B tier because I hate. Well, I don't hate it, but I not a fan of editing. Editing takes so much time, especially for YouTube, because you don't have to add cuts and all that stuff. You also have to add animations and b-rolls, and you have to do a lot of extra stuff when it comes to editing for YouTube. But when it comes to editing for film, it's completely different. You mostly have to look at different performance and pick which one is the best, which one you think aligns with the script. And don't get me wrong, it does have a huge impact on the film, but I just think it's really tedious and also it's really saturated. Surprisingly enough, there's a lot of people who want to be editors. If I were to guess why, it's because it's one of those jobs where you can do anywhere. If you want, you can do it from the comfort of your own home. There's also a lot of people looking for editors. Like for example, I'm looking for an editor to edit my videos. But when the time that, as I said before, I wanted to be a video editor as a freelancer, and so I would go to Fiverr and Upwork and have my resume there. You know, use some of my YouTube videos to show the work that I can do. And even still, it was really hard to find a job. It took me like a long time until I actually found a freelance job, and that made me realize that yeah, editing is really saturated. Maybe not. Well, even still, film editing too. Like, editing is such a. It is really important, and the thing is, some people might find it hard or easy. I don't know. I find it kind of tedious. So the reason why it's in B tier is because it's saturated. It's hard, in my opinion, but it does have a big impact on the film. So that's why I'm gonna put it B tier. Now this is where we go into the categories where I don't have that much experience in. So we have gaffers. I don't know. The thing is, I've been on the films that I work with. There hasn't really been a gaffer. There's only been one gaffer. No, two gaffers on the films that I worked on. And the thing is, you can go by without a gaffer. I don't know how saturated it is. I don't know how people like if people actually want to be gaffers. The thing is when I go into YouTube and try to search for filmmaking, I most of the time what I see is like cinematography and editing as the most common thing that people look for. So I don't think it's really all that saturated. I'm gonna put it C tier because, well, yeah, I'm gonna put it in C tier because people like you could still do it. I don't think it's well, it is kind of hard now that I think about it because when I was on set and there were gaffers on set, it took them quite a long time to get the right position, the right lighting, and so it does take lot of time and effort and coordination. And I don't know if it's saturated. Not no, I think since it's not saturated, from what I know, I'm gonna keep it at. Oh, the lighting's good. We're talking about gaffers, and I look at the camera, and I see that the lighting's good here. But yeah, I don't think it's really that saturated. So it's probably a job that you could get into quite easily, and it's somewhat hard, but not too hard. So C tier is fine with me. Then there's the assistant of camera. I also don't have any experience with this. There's been one time that I was on set and there was an assistant camera. I'm gonna put I'm gonna put it in the same category as the gaffers because I think it's not really something has a huge impact on the film, and I don't think it's really all that saturated. I haven't heard ever since I got into film school. I haven't heard a single person want to be an assistant of camera. So that's why. Obviously, most people want to be like the actual thing, but yeah, from what I saw, it wasn't really all that hard. Well, I guess they did have to move the camera and stuff, and this could also be the same position as the guy who holds the camera, right? And the cinematographer, the DP can just be. Do I have DP? Production. Oh, cinema. Okay, I just had a cinematographer. But yeah, I guess he could be like the one that tells the AC where the camera is supposed to go. So in that aspect, the job is kind of hard, which I guess does bump it down. It's not that saturated. That's why it's in C tier because it's not really all that saturated. And then yeah, I don't think they have too much of an impact on the film. I feel like the job could be done by a cinematographer. It's just there to help the cinematographer have a better creative vision. They can sit back and think, okay, where is the next best shot? So I think they can help when it comes to that aspect. But if they weren't there, I don't feel like it would take too much away. Like if you're a beginner, it wouldn't impact you in a big way if the AC wasn't there. So I guess now that I think about it, I'm gonna put it in D tier because I don't think it has that big of an impact. The lighting does. If you can't see the actors, you're doing something wrong, right? That's something that like it's really noticeable. And AC, if they're absent, I don't think they're noticeable. No way. It could just be replaced by a cinematographer. Obviously, the quality of the cinema, as I said before, the quality of the cinematographer is not gonna be as good, but it's not necessary. It's not saturated, and I don't think it plays a huge impact on the film. Now, a producer does. I mean, I don't know, because I don't really have that much experience on producing. I just started a producing class. I'm gonna put it in A tier. I'll explain in a bit, but I just started a production class that's telling me everything that I need to know about production and what they do. And I'm kind of glad that I'm taking this class because I mean, I am curious what they do because I know they play such a huge role in films, but I don't know why. Like, there's a category for them and the Oscars, so that makes me think, okay, why? I know they're the ones who make the project, who get it started, who come up with the idea, who fund it. But is that something that's really creatively noteworthy? I don't think so. But just for the reputation itself, I am gonna put it in A tier. I know that it's like without a producer, the film is not gonna get done. I don't know about how hard it is. Also, I think it is kind of saturated actually. Well, not really, because they fund it, and only people who have money could fund it. Actually, I know they also pitch projects. They get it started, yeah. So I don't think it's saturated. I They have a huge impact on the film because they get it started, and that job is kind of like a sales pitch. It's like kind of like how a salesman would do it. How hard do I think that is? Yeah, I'm gonna keep it an A tier. I'm gonna keep it an A tier. Actually, I kind of want to bump it up to S because it's really important. Yeah, I'm bumping to S because they get it started. It is quite hard, quite challenging, but not too hard. I don't think it's too saturated. I think the fact that it's not too saturated, haven't heard anybody who wants to be a producer in like a serious way. So since it's like that, since it's not saturated, it's not too hard, and it does have a huge impact on the film, it has to go on S. Assistant director. I actually think since I have a little bit more experience, not being an assistant director, but seeing firsthand how big of an impact they have on the directing process, I'm gonna have to bump it up to an A. Because when I was making the Weatherby scene five, I noticed because I was director and actor, and I feel like if there was a lot of questions coming up to me, right? I was getting bombarded with information. Do you want to do it this way? Do you want to do this, that? And my mind was just all over the place, and I could not focus greatly on my acting or directing even. So if I would have done it differently, the Weather Beast in 5, I would have it so, first of all, I had a director, I would be director, and then I have another actor. Somebody else could act. And then I would have an AC to help with the slating and the cinematography, which was taking also part of my mind. To be fair, my brother and my best friend didn't know how to do things properly because they're not film majors. But if I had somebody else to have those questions and worries, then yeah, the performance would be a lot more different because I would have my mind focused on one thing. And that's the best thing. That's like the key thing when directing is the fact that you have, or any job, is the fact that you have to focus only on one thing. Quality over quantity, of course. And because of that, I'm gonna put in an AD because like, if you haven't been director yet, you know how much of a stress and leadership there is on you. And if there's someone to help you with that leadership and stress, it could take a lot of weight off your shoulders, and the quality of your directing is going to increase. And if the quality of directing increases, then the quality of your acting increases. So, and then the acting shapes so much of the film. It's really important. So everything connects. And I think it is somewhat saturated. Honestly, I wouldn't mind being an assistant director myself. I do think it's a little bit hard, a little bit challenging, but not too hard. And as I said before, it connects assistant director, director, and actor. It does connect. It does have an impact. So I will put this in A tier. It's not an S because I don't believe it has too much of an impact of the film. It's one of those things where you can live without, but it has a huge amount of help. And it also is quite challenging. I've seen if all the questions and all the worries go to you, there's a lot of things that you have to manage, and you're gonna be stressed as well, because you're putting the stress away from the director to you if you're the assistant director. So Yeah, I do believe it is quite challenging, and because of these reasons, it's gonna go in A tier. That's why it's not an S. So yeah, cinematographer. Actually, I'm gonna put this one in A too. Yeah, because I've been on some sets where there's no cinematographer, and the film has turned out just fine. If I feel like the director could do it, could also be the cameraman, and I mean not just fine. Obviously, it could be better. Like life is good, but it could be better. But yeah, I did the bridesmaids, the ring scene. I did that one without a cameraman. Just the director was there directing us. He was the cameraman. He set up the camera, and don't get me wrong, if I had a cinematographer at DP, the production set would have been a lot more smoother. It would have gone a lot more faster, and therefore we would have saved a lot of energy, and our quality of our acting would be a lot better because our director would be focused more on directing us, on working with us. And so, without a cinematographer, the energy of that director would be saved, and therefore better acting. So it's kind of relates to the assistant director. We remove the stress from the director's shoulder. That way they can focus on directing, which translate over to acting. And also, if a cinematographer focuses only on getting the best shots, then obviously it's gonna get better. It's gonna focus on one thing. And being the shots obviously is like an art form too. It's like taking a picture. It's as impactful as taking a picture. It is saturated, however. It is really saturated. If you go on YouTube, some of the most viewed videos are that are about filmmaking are cinematography. I do believe the job is hard though, getting the right shot, getting the thing is it's not just getting the right shot for the actors, it's also and director to please that director and actors, but it's also one that aligns with the script. And you do have to do a lot of preparation for it. So it is quite challenging. And you also have to move the camera around, get the best lighting, move everything. Actually, that's why I do believe that Gaffer is also a really hard job as well, because you do have to move the lighting equipment. There's a lot of the light is hot too, so you're also risking getting burned. They're heavy. It's a lot of equipment, heavy equipment, a lot of heavy lifting and stuff. And so it's not something that's really too create. Well, it is creative, but it's kind of like technical in a way that you have to focus on, connecting everything, getting the equipment ready. And I think if you get these aspects really smoothly, it could make the film better. Obviously, everything in the film connects with one another. So, yeah, it is pretty challenging. It is saturated, but and it does have a. I don't know how big of an. Well, I would say it has like about a medium level of impact on the film. Well, I don't know actually, because I was watching Breaking Bad yesterday, right? And I just I watched it several times, the show, and yeah, something that I just caught my eye recently is the fact that the cinematography shots do impact creative aspects of the film. Same thing when I broke down the lighting and cinematography of the Batman. They can represent major things. Even though like the camera angle and the things that are chosen to put like the camera angle, the shot where it is, it does have a huge impact actually, now that I think about it, creatively wise. But since because it's so saturated and it is kind of hard to do, I'm gonna put it in A. So now that we have the script supervisor, I'm gonna put this at B as nah. I'm gonna put it at C. Yeah, I'm gonna put it at C because I was script supervisor for one project one time. It's not uploaded on my channel because it's not mine. I don't wanna take credit for something that I didn't really have that big of a role on. That's the reason why it's in C tier, because it's a job that I don't think requires a huge amount of effort and does have a lot of impact on the film. I could be wrong. Maybe an experienced script supervisor can correct me and stuff, but you have to be really watchful, pay attention to a lot of things, keep track of continuity, take notes for the editor. But generally, it's not really that hard. I mean, unless, at least in my opinion, I only did it once. Maybe if I do another one, I might change my opinion. But yeah, and besides, I think most people that I've been on set with don't really have one. I was just there because the director wanted to have his film be perfect and flawless, and wanted as many people to help with the project. And so I volunteered, and he gave me the job of script supervisor. And yeah, I just felt that didn't really have a big of an impact on the film. I don't really know. I guess this is something that I'm gonna have to ask the director if my notes actually helped. But yeah, it's not really all that saturated. That's why it's not in C tier, because I mean it's not in D tier because it's not all that saturated. You know, you can probably go, like I could probably just ask a couple people if I could be script supervisor for their film, and I'll probably say yes because why not? It's just an extra addition that doesn't add too much, but still adds something. So that's why it's in C. We have costume. I think costume is pretty valuable. I don't know. I don't know too much about costume. I'm gonna put it in A tier. Let me think. Let me think. It's not too hard. It's not too saturated, and it does have a lot of impact on the film. Not too much impact. Okay, yeah, I got it. I got it. Yep, it is. It is A tier because I, from what I've seen, I did work with a couple custom designers. You know, we just texted back and forth what costumes to use for, and yeah, you just have to do research based on the script. Which honestly, as I said about acting, doing research on the script only takes about 2 hours. And so if you only do like research for like 2 hours, like you're completely focused, that's all you need to do. It's not really all that hard to do research and then also find what you think the character costume would be. Making the costume is like a whole separate thing that I don't really have experience on, but when it comes to doing research on the costume, then it's not really all that hard. Since we don't have like a proper like costume wardrobe here at UNLV, at least on my experience, my UNLV, my university. But yeah, since we didn't have that, we had to use our own costumes, our own wardrobe, and this made it a whole lot easier for the costume designer because we had to get it ourselves. Obviously, if you're in a professional set, this is not going to be the case. They're going to get it for you. But from my experience, it wasn't that hard for them. Doing research wasn't that hard. It's not all that saturated, at least from what I know. There wasn't really a lot of people in the costume designer class, so that's why I think it's not all that saturated. And yeah, it does have a huge impact on the film. Obviously, what you wear is what like it does impact the actor. Like for example, I don't know why, but for me, whenever I wear a watch, I just feel more productive. I just feel like a higher value man, and yeah, just you know, costumes goes a long way in performance and presentation. So that's what is in 18. Now we have sound. Now I believe it's in. I'm gonna put it in B because obviously sound is really important. Without sound, is you don't really have a performance to capture. But there's been some times, for example, the Weatherby scene 5 that I did was without sound, without a microphone. We just used the microphone from our phone. Then in the bridesmaid scene, we also just used the sound from our phone. Also in the other bridesmaid scene where I was a cop, we used the sound from our phone. So if you're a beginner, then yeah, you probably don't need sound, but it is something that like if you could get it, then yeah, you might as well have it. The reason why it's in B is because I do believe it has like a huge impact, but you can live without it. And it's also, I don't know how hard it is. It's not something that I have experience with, but it does play a huge impact. It's not all that all saturated. I only know 2 people who do sound, and I do believe it could be fun. Who knows? Maybe it pays well too. I don't know. There's something that I don't have really experience on, so I don't want to talk too much about it. Now let's talk about something that I do have quite some experience on and want to be. This is like my end goal in the future, directing. This is what I want to become one day, a director. My end goal ever since I was a kid. And yeah, I have some knowledge of it. The thing about directing is the fact that you have to be a good listener. Also, you have to pay attention, be someone who watches really well. And again, a director shapes the performance of an actor, which is ideal. And also, they play a lot of huge roles and when it comes to different parts of the creative process. It is hard, but I don't know. For me, even though it's hard, I found it extremely fun. It's really fun. Same thing with acting. It's somewhat hard, but I just find it really fun. However, it's extremely saturated. A lot of people want to be directors, but I can't help it. I just love directing too much. It's really fun. It's just really fun. This is just my opinion, but I can't help it. But it's really fun. So yeah, I talked about when I talked about the assistant director, I talked about how the director plays an impact on the acting, and the acting plays an impact on the film itself. However, the director does have like is involved. I'm pretty sure all the other roles are involved too, but I feel like the editor is also there in the editing process. The director, I said the editor. The director is there in the editing process, working with the editor. They're there in the pre-production process, planning the location and stuff. Also, the director could also write the screenplay. I mean, anybody can write the screenplay, right? But most of the time, I mean, from what I've seen, the director can and has made films that are successful, and he's written them. It does have a lot of work. Everything can go onto him. Like, for example, the director could act. The director could write the story. The director could do the cinematography, the DP. The director could edit. And because everything could go to him, that makes it so he has a lot of creative freedom. And creative freedom is really fun. Obviously, you want to diverse these roles to their own separate people. That way the director can only focus on one thing. But since they have such an impact on the film, because they can do everything, it goes on S tier. So here is the ranking. I like how the symmetry of all this is like it's going down. Okay. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. Oh, this was a long one. 40 minutes, huh? Thank you for watching this video. If you liked, I'm sure to leave a like. If you want me to make another tier list about anything, then let me know. I was thinking of making like a Marvel movies tier list, because I'm surprisingly enough a huge Marvel fan, a huge Marvel geek. I've watched all the films, even the shows. I watched She-Hulk. I didn't watch Echo, but I watched a lot of Marvel films, and so I think that's gonna be the next tier list. I'm probably gonna do it as a tier list maker instead of photoshopped. Who knows? Whatever's easier. But thank you everybody so much for watching this video. If you would like to, make sure to leave a like. Subscribe if you're new or like my channel. And always remember to live your life like there's no tomorrow. My voice is killing me.